Thank you.
And that's where we do the little snippy snip and we cut out. Anybody who's in the live stream chat, feel free to throw your questions and I'm going to scroll back here and get some of them. But if you have questions for Justin, go ahead and throw them in there. I'm going to scroll back here. There were a few right away at the beginning. People bopped in and were asking questions. Bunch of people saying hello. Doctor Who represent. He made a Doctor Who reference.
Yeah, big time.
Somebody asked what the band name is. I don't know if they're talking about Plains Drifter or your own band. I think that was from early in the conversation. Did you have a
Yep.
band name for yourself?
Yeah. So we used to call ourselves Point 15 back in the day.
Is it
It was based off of a little like out in the middle of the lake. There's this big sign that said 15 in the middle of it. We were like, hey, Point 15, that's our band, and we're gonna be rock stars one day. So that's what we came up with, and yeah, it was good. I still got stuff on iTunes and stuff. It's pretty good, but it's a little dated. You could tell we were trying to be rock stars in the late '90s.
nice? Oh my God, yes. Please make Luke sing. All capital letters.
Yeah. So I try to mix some stuff in there to really kind of push some of that stuff. And the band's actually very flamboyant because like one of them's a vampire. The lead singer's this huge mage, and one's an ogre related to another ogre that we know. And vampire, and they're all very unique characters. And then book 4, when everybody gets to listen to it, they'll understand.
Have you gotten to hear Luke's interpretation at all yet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We
Okay.
got a little bit of it. Yeah, we got a little
Awesome.
bit of. He does Abby Normal. So in book 2, because they come in at the very beginning, and that's something. It's funny you mention that because there's times where I have to go back and make sure don't miss things or do things. And Abby Normal, yeah, you get to talk to him because they come in and they play that show.
Right.
But he doesn't. We don't really dig into him at all.
Okay.
But yeah, it's changed. Getting ready to change. So.
How many books do you have planned for the Max Abaddon series?
So initially 13, that's kind of the lucky number, right? But it's going to expand into all different kinds of directions. I mean, we're talking. Um, I've got one series. I'm going to do it in the third person, but it's a spinoff of 2 of the vampire characters and what they're doing, and then I also have. It'll probably turn out 5 or 6 books.
Okay.
I thought about you mentioned it earlier, and you kind of nailed it on the head. Where almost a period piece with Ed, in the past, and Tom, maybe during the war, or even back in the Western days, or just something, pirates, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knows anything with St. Augustine. I'm a huge pirate fan, so
Yeah.
and maybe how they initially met some of those people. So I'm seeing about 3 or 4 spinoffs, and then I want to do a novella series, almost like the size of the Sinking Man series books. They're like 40,000 words. You can get through one in like 3 hours. But I'm thinking about doing those books in that kind of order, where maybe 1 or 2 big novels, but a lot of them are going to be these novella types, where they're really geared towards like audiobook and maybe TV adaptation. So, and there's some people actually interested in that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Are you open to? Oftentimes, you see a lot of the urban fantasy people, whether it's Kevin Hearn or anyone,
Yep.
is doing. They'll do a story from their book in an anthology somewhere else. Are you open to that? Are you thinking about doing that? Or are you going to be like, I kind of want to do my own stuff?
No, I'm all about it. I love it. And that's actually why I like doing that anthology, because we all had that theme, and I love it. Somebody reach out and say, "Hey, we're going to do this anthology with this theme. Can you guys?" I'm like, man, I've got more stories than I know what to do with them. Little stories I can top in and out and just throw in there and mix around. Um, that I that would be great, because after that first book, I realized, I very detail oriented. The first book is, right?
Right.
And I think that throws some people off from it sometimes, because they don't like too much detail. But a lot of people on the other end of the spectrum, like, I could feel the book, I could smell the room, I could feel I'm in this room right now. But there's some short stories that I'd love to write that are kind of that same kind of texture about certain things.
Awesome.
But yeah, so for sure.
Cool. What? Big question mark. Holy shit! I want to hear Luke Daniels sing.
Again, yeah, you get that. Yeah. Yep.
Question: How much of your own story/journey did you put into Max? Military background, love of music, his truck, etc.
Oh, pretty much all that stuff. So, there's a lot of, it's hard not to throw yourself into a character. I think it's almost impossible. I know a lot of authors that they'll tell you the same thing. the Black Beast was like, I think we were talking earlier, some characters are based on certain people. But I've got a Dodge truck that it's, just like the one in the story. Max's ability to get himself in a little bit of trouble is absolutely mirrors me in a lot of ways. Like I said, everybody's got stories, but if you tell some stories, people wouldn't believe it. You'll see me rant every once in a while about that on some of my blog posts. I'll be like, you guys realize my background. I know people that do this for a living. I can promise you this is what they do after work, most of them. At least.
Right.
So there is a lot. There is absolutely a lot. The music thing is absolutely, but I think the one thing more I would say that I really kind of compare is just that journey. As you see Max kind of mature, I kind of feel like every book I can almost look at a point in my life where, I'm like, here, I was here, and this is kind of, it's a little weird to explain, but yeah, I think there's a lot of that. His growth in there, I can kind of feel. Um, I personally feel that I'm in his head, knowing this is how I acted at a certain time, and you'll notice how he stops doing certain things throughout the books
Yeah.
and stuff. So, and then he comes off the rails and goes right back to it.
Cool. Well, I don't see any other questions, so
Cool.
I guess we're done.
All right, perfect. All right.
Well, thank you very much for hanging out. We're gonna raid another channel here real quick. And then I'll let's see if we can find. There he is. He is a big fan. We're gonna raid him because he is also former military, and he goes by the name Dilly the Doe. And he's a great friend of ours. For those of you watching, he is playing Cyberpunk and hanging out on stream. So go and say hi, everybody who's joining us, and we will see you all next time.